Here is the Eiffel Tower, the most visited monument in the world with over 7 million visitors every year. Located in the heart of Paris, on the Champ de Mars, the Eiffel Tower is the symbol of Paris and France. But none of this almost existed because the Eiffel Tower was supposed to be destroyed 20 years after its construction. Fortunately, it was saved at the last minute. Let's dive into the history of the Eiffel Tower. It's the year 1889 and the World's Fair is organized to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution, storming of the Bastille and all that. Known as the 1889 Paris Exposition, or Exposition Universelle in French. For this exposition, a competition is launched. Study the possibility of building a 1,000 feet high iron tower on the Champ de Mars, which would be the tallest tower in the world. Out of 107 projects presented, Gustave Eiffel's design is chosen, hence the name Eiffel Tower. On January 26, 1887, the construction of the tower begins. Between the factory where the parts are manufactured and the construction site, 150 to 300 workers assemble the 80,000 iron pieces that make up the tower. However, even before the construction begins, Mr. Eiffel's tower is already at the center of debates. Many artists protest against the construction of this tower, describing it as tragic street lamp, ugly skeleton, factory pipes under construction, a hole-riddled suppository. They were very inventive at that time. Despite the protests, the construction of the tower continues, and on March 21st, 1889, the construction of the Eiffel Tower is officially completed. Wow. That's a record for the time. Just 2 years, 2 months and 5 days. It officially becomes the tallest human-made structure in the world, standing at 312 meters, exceeding the symbolic 1,000 feet mark with a total weight of 10,100 metric tons. Now it's time to celebrate and make the most out of this Exposition Universelle to showcase French genius to the world and enjoy the tower because in 20 years... During the 1889 Paris Exposition, the Eiffel Tower is a phenomenal success. Even most of the artists who were initially against it realize the masterpiece that has been created, and people from all over the world come to Paris to see the tallest tower. Almost 2 million people visit the tower during this Exposition Universelle. Every evening the tower lights up with gas lamps and a tricolor beacon sends blue, white and red light for the French flag. The opening and closing of the exposition are announced by a cannon shot fired from the top of the tower, a prayer for the people who were killed every time by the cannonball. Okay, that's not true obviously, it's a joke. During the day, visitors have the choice of climbing the tower on foot or taking the elevator, as the Eiffel Tower has 5 unique elevators. I'll talk about them later. On the first floor there are 4 restaurants of different styles, a French restaurant, a Russian restaurant, a Flemish restaurant and an Anglo-American bar. Why the diversity? I don't know, maybe to satisfy most visitors during the exposition. Le Figaro, a French daily newspaper, even opens a printing press on the second floor, and visitors who buy the newspaper can have their name inscribed on it as proof that they climbed the tower. Everything is done to attract visitors. And at the same time, I get it because it's the tallest human-made construction, and in 20 years, it's destroyed. It became a once-in-a-lifetime thing to do. Now that the Exposition Universelle is over, and it has been a resounding success, Gustave Eiffel takes advantage of this achievement to conduct numerous scientific experiments. Even before the start of the construction, he knew that only the scientific utility of the tower would extend its lifespan. Now he has 20 years to find a purpose for his tower. He moves to the 3rd floor of the tower and conducts a maximum of scientific experiments. Not only him, but also encourages other scientists to do the same. It's almost a race. They have to find something useful for the tower. Meteorological observations, astronomical studies, physics, air resistance, freefall experiments, everything is tried. And in 1898, the first test of wireless telegraphy between the Eiffel Tower and the Panthéon, 4 kilometers away, are carried out. A year later, the waves cross the English Channel to reach England, and there Gustave realized that there is something to be done. In 1903, he proposes to the army to conduct experiments on wireless transmission directly on his tower. The tests are successful, antennas are installed, and in 1909, the underground military radiotelegraphy station is installed. The tower now has a real interest. The city of Paris renews the concession on January 1st, 1910. The tower is saved, Gustave's family succeeding in protecting his tower from destruction. And until today, the Eiffel Tower has retained the utility of antennas. In 1913, the tower sends waves to America for the first time. During World War I, the tower station managed to intercept enemy radiograms, allowing for victorious counterattacks, such as during La Bataille de la Marne, or unmasking spies, followed by the arrival of radio, television, and then digital television. And today, thanks to the antennas, the Eiffel Tower measures 330 meters high and broadcasts 3 TV channels and 32 radio stations. I wanna say thank you, waves, you saved the tower. Did you know that originally the Eiffel Tower was red? To protect the iron from rust, the entire Eiffel Tower is covered in paint, serving as protection. Each piece of the tower is painted red in the workshops before assembly, and in 1889, the tower is entirely painted in reddish brown to protect it and make it visible during the Exposition Universelle. Then in 1892, the tower changes to yellow, followed by a gradient of yellow orange in 1899. And from that date, the Eiffel Tower is repainted every 7 years by painters who are half mountaineers because they are attached by harness to the tower. They check the condition of the structure, clean and repaint the tower. In 1907, it became yellow-brown until 1974, where it's back to reddish-brown, and in 1968, the Eiffel Tower brown is chosen as a color for its harmony with the Parisian landscape. The paint is always degraded into 3 tones, darker at the bottom and lighter at the top to create a visually pleasing effect from a distance. Since the very beginning, the Eiffel Tower has always been illuminating, but only for significant events like And for the transition to the year 2000, the tower is covered with 20,000 flashing lights to create a sparkling effect. And in 2003, this ephemeral sparkle is finally made permanent, and today the Eiffel Tower sparkles every hour for 5 minutes. As mentioned earlier, the elevators of the Eiffel Tower are unique in the world. It was a prototype created only for the Eiffel Tower. It's not a traditional elevator, nor a cable car, nor a funicular, but a passenger cabin that, thanks to a hydraulic system, will drive a carriage that will pull a cable to raise or lower the cabin. That's super smart, and it's still the same system used today, although it has been replaced and modernized over time to make it more efficient and secure. It works great because the 5 elevators together travel 103,000 kilometers each year, which is 2.5 times around the Earth every year. That's a lot of ups and downs. The first 4 restaurants on the first floor have changed a lot over time. They were all demolished in 1937 for the International Exposition, where the entire first floor was redesigned to keep only 2 new restaurants. In 1980, again, major renovations, these 2 restaurants are replaced by 2 new ones, La Belle France and Le Parisien, which will merge into a large brasserie in 1996. And in 2022, after 2 years of renovation, Madame Brasserie is born. Well, that's food for common people. Now let's go up to the 2nd floor, if you please, with a reserved elevator to discover the Jules Verne, a gourmet restaurant that opened in 1983. Star chefs, a beautiful view on the Champ de Mars, high-end menu, just like its price. We also inform you that an elegant outfit is required. Oh, and suit jackets are mandatory for gentlemen. Well, I'm screwed, I can't go there like that. I mean, I don't have the right outfit. No, it's totally not the price I can pay Well, maybe it's the price, okay. Guy de Maupassant, a French author, hated the tower, but he often went there to eat at one of the restaurants on the first floor. Why? Because it's the only place in Paris where you can't see the Eiffel Tower. I think that's funny. It was Ben, see you soon. À bientôt!